Welcome to Shadow Route Tales, where history, mystery, and the unexplained intertwine in the quiet places of the world. Tonight's story takes us to a small American town where a series of sightings began with a single encounter, but what followed would prove far more unsettling. The night air was quiet in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in the fall of 1966. There were no alarms and no warnings. Then, near an abandoned military site on the edge of town, several residents reported seeing something they could not explain. These reports would become known as the Mothman sightings. While the first encounter is often remembered as the beginning, it was the series of events that followed over the next 13 months that cemented the legend. The Mothman was described as a large, winged figure seen primarily around Point Pleasant between 1966 and 1967. Witnesses estimated the wingspan at up to 10 feet. The accounts were unsettling, the explanations uncertain, and the story would later become linked, by timing, not evidence, to a real and devastating tragedy. The first widely reported sighting occurred on the night of November 15, 1966. Two young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Mallette, were driving near the former TNT plant, a World War II-era explosives facility filled with abandoned buildings. As they passed through the area, they reported seeing a tall, dark figure with glowing red eyes. According to their statements, the figure spread massive wings and rose straight up from the ground without flapping. As the couples drove away, they claimed the figure followed their car for a short distance. Shaken, they reported the incident to local police, who recorded their statements. The story was soon published in the Point Pleasant Register, bringing widespread attention to the town. In the days that followed, dozens of other residents began to report similar sightings in and around the TNT plant, local roads, and the banks of the Ohio River. Author and journalist John Keel would later document many of these encounters in his book The Mothman Prophecies. From late 1966 through much of 1967, reports continued. Over 40 sightings were documented by police and newspapers, often describing a large flying figure near roads, fields, buildings, or along the Ohio River. The descriptions, however, were not consistent. Some witnesses reported a creature standing over 6 feet tall with a wingspan up to 10 feet. Others described only red lights in the distance or large shadows moving at night. In several cases, people did not see anything themselves, but repeated stories they had heard from friends or neighbors. On December 15, 1967, just over a year after the first sighting, disaster struck. The Silver Bridge, a 1,100-foot suspension bridge connecting Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed during evening rush hour. 46 people were killed. A later federal investigation concluded that the collapse was caused by the failure of a single eye-bar due to metal fatigue and corrosion. There was no connection found between the bridge collapse and the reported sightings. Notably, after the collapse, reports of the Mothman largely stopped. Over the years, several explanations have been proposed, though none have been definitively proven. One explanation is misidentification. Large birds, including owls and sandhill cranes, inhabit the region. Some have red reflective eyes and wide wingspans that can appear unnatural in headlights or low light, especially at night. Another explanation focuses on psychology. Once news of the sighting spread, fear and expectation may have influenced how people interpreted ordinary sights and sounds. Researchers and journalists have noted that heightened anxiety can affect memory and perception, particularly during periods of widespread publicity. Other theories include hoaxes, exaggeration, or connections to UFO sightings reported during the same era. However, no physical evidence was ever produced to confirm any of these claims. The first sighting near the TNT plant was brief and unexplained. What followed over the next year was a mix of fear, rumor, and genuine uncertainty. The Silver Bridge collapse was real. 46 people died. The cause was documented by engineers and investigators. The creature itself was never proven to exist. Yet for many, the timing of the sightings and the tragedy left a lasting impression. Today, the Silver Bridge is gone, replaced by a new crossing. What remains is the story, part history, part legend, and a mystery that still lingers in the memory of Point Pleasant. The Mothman endures, not as proven fact, but as a shadow cast by fear, coincidence, and unanswered questions. You've been listening to Shadow Root Tales. If you enjoy stories where truth and legend blur in the dark, follow the channel and return for more forgotten events, unexplained sightings, and mysteries that refuse to fade. Until next time, keep your lights low and your mind open.